Fish.
Welcome back, folks. We back in the Red Sea. We gonna do that dive thing. It'll be great.
Great.
What will we find?
Fish.
Probably.
Red things.
Possibly.
Ourselves.
You can always find yourself if you look deep down.
Yeah, in the Red Sea.
Down at yourself.
Gaze into the abyss. Do it.
Maybe we'll find some marine mammals. Maybe we'll find some marine not mammals.
Maybe we'll find Nephthys.
Be great.
Yeah.
Wish there was marine amphibians.
Why?
Be great. It'd be great. A sea frog? That'd be great. Ooh. So here's a special thing.
These things only show up at night. If you come here during the day, there's nothing here.
And they have this thing.
Including this coin. Pluto's the Roman equivalent to the Greek god Hades, the god of the underworld. He's kind of god of the underworld. You know. Underworld. Like the abyss. Ooh.
It's also a dwarf planet thing! So, Pluto is indeed a dwarf planet, not a planet. This happened in 2006 when the International Astronomy Union met up in Prague and had a 10-day powwow where they first created the official dwarf planet definition, and stuck Pluto in as a prime example of one. So, why? Well, let's first look at what the current definition of a dwarf planet versus a standard planet is according to the International Astronomy Union. There are 3 core rules that make up the definition of a planet. A planet is a celestial body that is 1. In orbit around the Sun, 2. Has sufficient mass to assume hydrostatic equilibrium, that is, it has a nearly round shape, and 3, and here's the key one, has quote-unquote cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. So, obviously Pluto meets the first rules. It is most definitely in orbit around the Sun, and it has assumed hydrostatic equilibrium. But it has in fact not cleared its local neighborhood. In order for a celestial body to clear its local neighborhood, it must be the gravitationally dominant body in its orbital zone and have cleared out any similarly sized objects by collision or by acquiring them as one of its own satellites. In essence, given time, celestial bodies of a certain size and influence should naturally become the biggest guys around in its orbital zone. And we define these things as being a planet. Pluto is what we term a Kuiper Belt object, an object of ice and rock that moves in and out of the Kuiper Belt that extends beyond Neptune to about 50 astronomical units from the Sun. If Pluto had cleared its neighborhood, it would be the biggest thing around in the Kuiper Belt, having picked up everything around or sent them careening into deep space by gravitational influence. There essentially wouldn't be a Kuiper Belt. Instead, we found that Pluto is not only not alone in the Kuiper Belt in terms of bodies of similar size, there's actually other celestial objects there nearby that are larger than it, particularly the dwarf planet Eris, discovered in 2005 and 27% more massive than Pluto, basically 0.27% the Earth's own mass. Dwarf planets are thus defined by meeting only the first 2 rules, being bodies that orbit our Sun, are rounded out, but they have relatively similar sized company. But why the big hubbub? Why does this matter? Why do we make this be the definition of what is a planet? Well, it's rather simple, really. Pluto's existence was predicted using a now rejected supposition of the relative location of planets in the solar system prior to its discovery in the 1930s, and was heralded at the time as the final planet. The means of observing Pluto and the Kuiper Belt were very limited at the time, and Pluto was actually thought to be relatively large, something in the range of Mercury. But in the 1970s, Pluto's moon Charon was discovered, and by using its orbital period, astronomers were able to very accurately calculate Pluto's mass, which was when we discovered that it had actually 1/25th the mass of Mercury's, making it very, very small, much smaller than our own moon, which is sort of troubling. Then, as we came to the 1990s, researchers began to discover even more Kuiper Belt objects that were similar to Pluto, with similar orbits, dubbed Plutinos, and it became clear that Pluto really wasn't all that exceptional beyond being easier to spot. Not only that, researchers began discovering more and more objects that were comparable to Pluto's in size in the Kuiper Belt, and it became clear that there was in fact a problem. Basically, Pluto didn't jive with the other planets in terms of its characteristics, and if we were going to set a definition of planet that included Pluto, we'd potentially have to add dozens of other planets, with theoretically no top end. Once Eris was discovered, and it was measured to be even bigger than Pluto, well, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. Do we add a dozen more planets, with no upper end as we discover more and more really large chunks of ice in the Kuiper Belt? Do we go back and make Ceres, located in our asteroid belt in itself, a dwarf planet, into a planet too? What about our moon? Why are these being defined as planets when they're just celestial bodies without much influence in their area? Are we really going to classify these things as basically equivalent to the celestial heavyweights that have by force dominated the structure of our solar system after billions of years of development? There are certainly other asteroids near the other planets and so on, but they're most definitely dominated by the planets, and they're entirely because the planets have captured them there. All the dwarf planets we've discovered combined are basically 1/3 the size of our own moon. That's stupid. It's ultimately just a matter of pragmatics. So Pluto was defined as a dwarf planet, as it orbited the sun and was round, a minor planet, as it's a non-planet sun-orbiting body that isn't a comet, a Kuiper Belt object, as it resides in the Kuiper Belt, a trans-Neptunian object, an object further away from the sun than Neptune, and a Plutoid/Plutino, because it's a thing like, Pluto. But not a planet. It's not a planet. Some people are bothered by this, but most of that seems to be driven by nostalgia than any sort of rational thing. A fear of change, of things that were once believed in no longer being true, of Pluto somehow being robbed of what is ultimately a term of convenience that doesn't really even apply anymore. If something isn't convenient and isn't a good convenient definition, and it's made clear that it doesn't really matter, why define it as that? I'd like to just point out how much cooler so many of the other dwarf planets are compared to Pluto. Seriously, Pluto is pretty boring by comparison. Sedna probably deserves its own little thing, but Ceres is also pretty cool too. It's just a random as hell dwarf planet hanging out in our asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, making up 1/3 of the belt's mass. Big enough to be rounded, but not big enough to collapse the rest of the belt onto itself. Eris is even bigger than Pluto, which is pretty cool in itself. How the hell did we not discover this before then? It's further away, not as shiny? Well, what the fuck? It's just, Pluto really isn't all that interesting anymore. Folks, let it go. Move on. Your heart will go on.
Yes.
But yes, these things, whatever they are, I don't think we really know what they are.
No, but you can interact. If you actually click them with your little button, they light up like that.
That's what I'm doing right here. Bioluminescence is great.
This is the only place they appear in the game. They only show up at night, and that's the only place you get that coin. At night. Next to the glow polyps.
I've got a good bioluminescence fact for you.
Okay.
So, prior to the safety lamp being developed for coal mines, they actually used to use dried fish skins in Europe as a weak source of light within mines.
Really?
Yeah. It's because of a little faint bit of bioluminescence.
Just like the kobolds.
Yeah.
Yep. They're here. These little blue fish live here. That's it. It's kind of spooky.
Typically with bioluminescence, it's basically using chemical reactions to generate light within an animal. And typically involves producing some sort of pigment and then an enzyme that reacts with the oxygen to create light, and the pigment just basically sets the typical color.
Alright. What if squirrels were bioluminescent?
Owls would destroy them constantly, even more than usual. They would just be wrecked. And an interesting thing with bioluminescence is that we know exactly what genetics drive them, because we're able to artificially introduce those. So
yeah, because we can stick them in mice. It's great.
Yeah, I know. We could very well make a bioluminescent squirrel and see what would happen. On the other hand, garden eels are cool.
They are.
Who doesn't like a garden eel?
Well, half the people. The people.
Fuck him.
Yeah, they just stick in the ground and they stick their heads out and kind of face plankton, just kind of suck in plankton and eat.
That's a fair way of living, I guess.
Yeah, why not?
Damn Garniel layabouts. Just sucking in plankton. Nah, I'm good.
Hater. He was completely missing that food.
Yeah. He was aiming for the plankton behind the food.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that was a proactive Garniel then.
Yes. It was a real go-getter.
Real Goku getter.
I'm not responding to that.
Good. Because there's no good response to it.
I'm just saying.
I think that one Garniel was different from that one. Looking at that again.
Like, you think that was a different species or something?
Yeah, because I know there's two Garniels in the game. And I
Well-
noticed that one was smaller.
Well,
Oh, well.
whatever.
Fire Gobi.
It's a pretty goby.
Yep.
I live in holes. Gobies do that thing. Gobies always be living in holes, Red.
What's your favorite Gobi?
Oni goby.
It's a good one. That's a good one. Mine's the Mud Skipper.
It's a good one. It's a good one. I was just reading up on mud skippers a couple days ago. Really neat. They are weird-ass animals.
Would you classify the Mud Skipper as a marine amphibian?
No, because it's not an amphibian. You know very well the amphibian.
But it is amphibious.
It is amphibious, yes, but it's
Making
not.
it amphibian.
No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, that's how the English language works.
There are
Hey,
human beings who technically live in
Game
water a lot of time. That doesn't mean that they're amphibians. Well, I'm not sure what a caiman thing's doing in the middle of, the Red Sea, but perhaps we will find out more.
Nephthys.
Could be.
Angelfish crowd, you son.
Yeah. Coin.
Corona Borealis, the northern crown, is a Ptolemaic constellation named for its shape. In Greek mythology, the crown is said to be the wedding crown given by Dionysus to Ariadne, daughter of King Minos. In Welsh mythology, it is also called the Castle of the Silver Circle, and was home to Lady Arianrhod. Ew. You say that, but they're just gonna swallow them.
Not sure where you were going with that, Oceana, but okay.
She's having dad issues.
Did it?
Remember?
Yeah, I remember when we heard that Oceana's dad once ate her.
Yeah, that... Shut up, Zorak.
Biology is weird. Also, so are the French. Maybe I'm thinking about the Olympians. I don't know. Let's move on.
Wouldn't it be great if we just did a segment on mouth-brooding frogs?
Oh man. Don't even give me ideas. That sounds great. Mouth
That'd just be
brooding
rude as
frogs.
hell.
Are you for them or against them?
I'm for them. To say most of them are extinct.
I know. Man, instead of doing a segment, we need to do like an interview with the communities of the world. Where do you stand on the issue of mouth-brooding frogs? Sir and or Madam?
Yes.
If a mouth-brooding frog were to run for president, would you vote for him?
Probably not, actually.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
You know that frog cares about his family and the environment, because frogs...
Yeah, but I don't want him just all mouth-brooding when he's got to be talking fucking Putin or something.
I don't know.
That'd be
That
weird.
sounds exactly what Putin deserves. Goddamn
Talk to a
mouth-brooding...
mouth-brooding frog?
Absolutely. Everybody deserves that. It'd be great. Excuse me. That was little Stevie. You gotta get in my way of my speaking.
Firmwell.
This time he ain't gonna fuck with us.
Did you ever get that trivia, or is this...
No, now I'm gonna get the actual trivia.
Okay, good, because I just remember seeing that. It was like, no.
There we go.
No.
Sperm whales are
Hooray.
pretty cool.
Now you're riding it. Congratulations.
Look, if you have the chance to ride a sperm whale, you will ride a sperm whale. I mean, well, I don't know if I would actually try pulling that out.
No, I'm not going to get anywhere near that thing's head. Or its tail.
Yeah. They're pretty intelligent animals.
Yes.
As many whales are wont to be, but, you know. Namely, well, with them, most of our understanding of their intelligence is in part because we know from the days of whaling that they could be pretty spiteful, so... For good reason.
It was justified spite, to
It
be
was.
fair.
I'm not blaming them, no. I'm not blaming them by any means. I'm just saying, like, you know, yeah. Yeah, orcas. Good old kill a whale.
Yay.
Perhaps they came here for some special reason. Who knows?
I forget if you can actually see these in the... I'm pretty sure you can see them in, like, the Antarctic, so...
Can you?
I'm pretty sure sometimes they show up. I don't know for sure, though.
That'd be cool, but
I remember there's a scene with them in the ice, so... It might be in the Arctic, might be in the Antarctic, I don't know.
I get the feeling we've kind of consumed most of the things that can happen in the Arctic proper.
You would be surprised.
Because, I mean, we've explored everywhere, we've touched basically everything. I know there's some things we need to do over there. I mean, we still have a quest to go up there.
There's still more to do up there.
Let's see. Yeah, killer whales are cool, super smart, kind of jerks sometimes they're not.
Sometimes.
Well, it's the nature of being super intelligent.
I like pilotfish. Peppa Jack.
You love jacks. You are obsessed with jacks. You're always tweeting me about, like, saw Jack. He's a big Jack.
No, I'm just kind of marveling why there's so many Jack out.
Yeah, you're always like that. There's so many Jack, and they're huge.
They are huge. Big yellow Jacks. Vulpecula, the fox, originally defined by Johannes Hevelius, is Vulpecula calmanseri, the little fox with the goose. Later, they were split into the constellations Vulpecula and Anzur. However, the two constellations were later remerged into just Vulpecula. However, the star Anzur is still part of it. The fox chasing a goose.
Why that fox chasing that goose? What's the mythology behind that fox goose?
Foxes eat geese.
Yeah, but usually there's a story there.
There's really not.
Just another example of Hevelius is making shit up.
Fox and geese.
At least it wasn't a scientific instrument. That'd be annoying. Unless it was
that other fucker.
Well, I'm just saying, it could have been.
Yeah.
Some sort of scientific goose. Theoretical fox. The fox is a metaphor. The goose is not a metaphor. The goose is just a goose. He's there for measuring the fox.
Yeah? You ever listen to yourself?
Yes.
Alright.
So, amphibians in general aren't able actually to live in the ocean because they can't handle the salt water. They don't have the ability to process it at all, like, you know, they can't with fresh water. And that's why amphibians are amphibians. They do require regular moisture and contact, and they just can't, you know, handle processing the salt water when they do that. But an interesting thing is that there are actually some pretty distant islands that have frogs on them. For example, you know, the oceanic islands of Sao Tome and Principe. And they're actually remarkable in that they have a number of unique frog species. And I believe one of those even has a Sicilian?
Well, Sao Tome and Principe, it's right off Africa, so it broke off the mainland.
Yeah, well, yeah, but yeah.
It's right there in the little crooks down by Cameroon, I'm pretty sure. Cameroon also has a bunch of frogs, you know, including the Goliath frog. The largest frog. The Lord of Frog.
But then again, I mean, it's also possible that they could have gotten there via, you know, any number of ways.
Yes. It's also just more like, you know, just tectonic. You see that one? That was another eel that just looked different. Maybe it's just a different model for that one eel.
I don't know. It could be. Well, I'm sure
Could
we'll
be
come
just
back.
like the female eel.
I'm sure when we come back, we will, looking for the other eel, we will figure out if that is the case or not. Is that a new fish too? The one I just didn't touch, like right there? What is that?
It looks like some sort of tang.
Yeah, I don't know if that was one I missed or not. Oh well. One of the issues when you're actually just driving around, you know, swimming about, it's... Sometimes you just kind of get kind of tunnel vision. And some of these fish you've seen before. And that's actually true, you know, in the wild and whatnot. That, you know, a lot of fish, you know, people... Basically, all new species, quote-unquote new species, are known by other cultures and whatnot. You know, they're not new, like, oh, nobody ever seen this before. It just means nobody's bothered, like, to write it down and put it down in, you know, Western, you know, scientific journals. Like, they've always had those stories about, you know, people going to, like, a fisherman's market in, you know, Southeast Asia, and they just, like 5 of the fish, you know, up for sale are new species to science and whatnot. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes sometimes.
Sometimes they just look really similar to each other.
That's true. That is another factor that it's hard to actually differentiate until you look closely or look at the genetic evidence.
The Moorish idol, the pennant coralfish, and the schooling bannerfish all look almost identical, but they are not related.
And that's another element of the whole, you know, fish sort of issue, that some of these things aren't related at all, but they look similar because they all convergently evolved from a common ancestor. They know what they do. They do what they do best underwater. The fish do.
Oh boy. Mensa oddly represents Table Mountain, a mountain in South Africa. This mountain was seen by explorer Bartholomew Dias as a storm anvil, explaining the notorious storms of the Cape of Good Hope. In the stories of Sinbad the Sailor, the mountain was described as a magnet pulling ships to the seafloor. Good old magnetic mountain.
So is it actually the driving factor for the Cape weather pattern? It's like,
no, because it's a big rock.
Yeah, I didn't think... Well, the thing is...
It's because it's where the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean meet.
Yeah, I know, but I was just wondering, like, does it have any, like, weather effects? It's like, because, you know...
No, it's just a big flat mountain.
Often drive, you know, weather patterns due to, you know, affecting cloud patterns.
It's a table mountain that's shaped like a table.
It's interesting that it's mentioned in, you know, Sinbad.
Yes.
South Africa is
it's very
pretty far
distinct
away.
Looking. So.
Well, I was more just thinking, like, it's like, that is a huge, you know, this is impressive, because people always, you know, fail to pay attention that, you know, the, you know, Arabic kingdoms, you know, and had a lot of widespread influence throughout, you know, the Africa and the Middle East, you know. South Africa is pretty far away from the Middle East proper.
Well,
but it's because trade went down the coast.
Yes, also he's Sinbad the Sailor.
Well, I know, but it's folklore, you know.
Yes. Vela, the Sails, was originally part of the constellation Argo Navis before it was divided into the constellations Vela, Carina, and Puppis by Nicolás Luis de Lacaille. It represents the Argo, the ship of Jason and the Argonauts.
Jason!
See, he also split that up into smaller constellations, because that was a massive constellation.
This took up too much real estate, and they're like, no, we're not doing this.
Well, you know how it goes sometimes. It took up too big, it was kind of hard just to actually...
Though that does make for some weird kind of symbology when you think about it, because it basically implies in that the Greek gods, it's like, that's a good ship. I'm chucking it into orbit!
Yeah.
As they do.
Yeah. They're all still right next to each other. The constellations connect, it's just they're separate.
I don't know, just... You know.
It's not like it broke apart. That would be silly. You're silly.
I don't remember the fate of the ship itself in the mythologies.
It was sent into the sky.
Oh, did that actually happen?
Yes, that's why it's a constellation.
See, I didn't remember if that was a thing or if someone just made that up.
Yep.
It is me. I am the fool today.
Good old Poseidon did it.
I choose to believe that anytime they throw something in space, they just shout the name of the thing that they're throwing up there.
Well, yes, and as they just chuck it up there, just...
Boat!
No magic incantation or anything. They just literally just
Just
arm
throw
back,
it.
just chuck
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Just while screaming whatever it is. Dolphin!
Please, Dolphin Wingman.
Zeus doesn't even know who they are. Just like, person I slept with and turned into an animal, number 32!
Yes.
That is how it do.
That is how it do. Sonic Barrel Eye.
What have you been looking at?
You? Because you're shining a light in their damn face?
Technically, I'm shining a light into their brain.
You're blinding all of those fish.
Blinding their brain. Imagine if Barrel Eyes were super intelligent. It'd be great.
How do you know they're not?
Probably not.
No, they're not.
The vampire squids. These guys are one of my favorites. Love these guys.
Yup. You did a segment on them.
I did. It was great. Go back and
Was.
watch that again. It was great. They are neither vampires nor are they squids.
Some sort of horrible in-between. Except not really in-between. They're just kind of a...
They may actually be from hell, though. I don't know.
They're not from hell.
They're just from the abyss, which is basically the same thing.
In some manners of speaking, sure. Hey, Mega Man Shark.
Someone's getting slightly annoyed at me. I don't think it's a Mega Mouse Shark.
Why would the Mega Mouse Shark get annoyed at you?
I don't know. I wouldn't think he would, but something's aggroing me, as they say in the gaming parlance.
Go back to bioluminescence. Mega Mouse Shark? It's bioluminescent gums.
Huh. I'm just imagining that in my brain, and it's wonderful.
This is glowing teeth.
Yeah.
Not that he really has teeth.
Giant Siphonophore.
Yep.
Those are cool.
Yeah, they are.
And then he pulls the ninja act and immediately vanishes.
Yeah, there's actually 2 of these in the game. But once the cutscene plays, yeah, you have to actually find it again.
Yeah, that's one thing
And
that kind of annoys me
it's
with the game.
shockingly hard to find this damn thing.
It does. That's one thing that annoys me of this game is sometimes they just trigger the cutscenes when you're a little bit just barely in the area. And it's like, I don't know where that happened. Like, apparently a giant Siphonophore went by and immediately vanished into the darkness. I think that was actually it right there, and I missed it.
I missed it, so...
I was too
Like,
busy
even in the
looking.
recording, I missed it.
I was too busy looking at the map, and it was right above the map.
Good job.
Too busy navigating.
Blinding all these shrimp.
They're already blind, probably.
Well, they definitely are now.
Well, they already were.
You don't know that. Maybe they saw bioluminescence. Now they'll never see it again.
Probably for their benefit, really, because all they do is just eat, bacteria and whatnot.
Yeah.
Gather around the vents.
Hey, squat lobsters.
Ooh, cave. This is one of the few cave systems down here.
Get into the hole.
In the Cross Rift. Well, not the Cross Rift, was it?
This is not the Cross Rift. Cross Rift is in...
It's just a rift
Greece.
that's relatively cross-shaped. How did this coin get down here?
Pisces Austrinus, the southern fish, is a Ptolemaic constellation. Known as the great fish in Greek mythology, it drinks the water poured by Aquarius. In Egyptian mythology, this fish saved the goddess Isis, and in thanks, she chucked its descendants into the sky.
Great fish!
Other fish! The fish's baby! Get up there! Just that for a straight, month. When she was done, she was fucking swole.
Oh man, what if they instead of just chucking it, they have to do the swinging arm thing to kind of build up momentum? They do that for a week.
I think they can just huck it.
Where is this thing that's getting mad at me?
I don't know.
Wait, there's a second cave.
It's suspense. What could it be? Where could it come from?
Ah, these guys. Who doesn't? Seriously, giant ice pods are great.
Though going off threads on something awful, a lot of people get freaked out by them.
Yeah, that's dumb though. They're just cool. They're just giant wood louses underwater.
Yeah. They're like
They
Doritos if you put it
I
in
know,
front.
they
Great.
love Doritos. It's great.
No, because we're underwater.
Who's driving this camera? Who is this?
It's the siphonophore.
It was the Megamouth's gums lighting that wall.
The trivia for that ice pod, by the way, talks about how Oceania just loves them.
Again, who doesn't?
Aries the Ram is one of the constellations of the Zodiac. Although Aries came to symbolize the ram who provided the golden fleece in the story of Jason, it had been associated with the ram since ancient Babylonian times. In Egyptian astronomy, it was associated with the god Amon-Ra, a god with the head of a ram. And that came up actually when we were in the Cavern of the Gods.
So yeah, the isopods, what they do is that they work pretty much like isopods do above water. They're scavengers. Though the main thing they scavenge after is things like whale carcasses, which provide a lot of meat, and they go and just kind of eat that.
Sort of read the trivia for the isopod real quick. A lot of people might feel unsettled at the sight of these creatures, but there are more than a few who find them fascinating precisely because of their appearance. There is at least one young woman in Pelago who would not hesitate to say how cute she finds them, namely Oceania. There's gotta be something here.
I know it!
Ugh!
Who would ignore food?
Yeah, you're right. I love food.
Oh no, I'm out of fish food. Guess I'm gonna have to use this bag of undersea Doritos.
Hello? Yes. Gravekeeper!
Like, I wish I was just losing it, like, oh shit!
This is the legendary giant isopod. The game included one for everybody.
It is the size of a baby, or a large child.
Yes!
It is huge!
Living in the depths of the crevice off the carcasses of whales or fish and generally cleaning up the seabed, his size makes him king of the scavengers. As he tends to the dead in the dark depths, he is aptly named Gravedigger. Gravekeeper. One of the two. One's a monster truck.
And they make an interesting point that the fact that isopods, in invertebrates in general, tend to scale up on the size based off the amount of availability of oxygen, and yet isopods live at the bottom of the ocean where there's not that much oxygen, so... Funny thing that...
Also, I love that we got Grave Guardian as a title.
Yeah... Seriously, look how big this thing is.
Later. You can hug it.
Oh man, I don't know if that'd
Wanna
be a good
hug
idea.
Wanna hug it? I'll do it. Is that the part where I drown?
It just tears you up.
You don't know that.
What, you think it's a hugger?
Look at him!
Yeah, he's got a lot of arms for hugging. I'll give you that.
Give it a kiss. Actually, I don't kiss it.
Wait a minute, this is the guy aggressing.
Yeah,
There we
that's
go.
your buddy.
Hey, look who it is.
It's Xanthus.
It's good old buddy Xanthus. I'm following
I'm not gonna. Whatever.
I am skeptical of that fact.
Xanthus don't care.
I am skeptical of the fact that Xanthus has killed people frequently. That seems
I
suspect.
didn't catch that. Did it actually say it kills people?
Well, it says many people will fall prey to its large and powerful tail.
Well,
And
it
I'm
does
like-
like to eat cables.
Does like to eat cables, those like to eat moose, probably already dead moose. No, that's Greenland shark.
That's Greenland sharks.
What has Hexanchus eaten? Probably not much. Other than
Corpses,
cables.
carcasses, anything on the bottom.
We have that great footage of a guy freaking out about it. That was great.
Yes. We used that in the little thing.
Yeah, let's reflect on those great segments in the first LP.
Yeah, we did a bunch. You should watch them. You're about to die.
Yeah, I guess we should go up.
Aren't we supposed to be doing something here in the Red Sea?
Already did it.
Oh.
This is for pleasure.
Where the hell was I?
I don't know. Where are you?